Another important loss for the Utah Jazz. The season just keeps rolling along, like 13 games left. A big game coming up. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys, that was an important loss for the Utah Jazz, who now are just really solidifying that number one spot. This was an important loss. Every loss is important going to the end of this season. The next game the Jazz play, though, is the most important game of the year. Utah will be playing the Washington Wizards day after tomorrow in Utah. Big time game for the Utah Jazz. A lot on the line, basically just locking down that 5 spot instead of the 6. If Utah can lose that game to the Washington Wizards, it is extremely unlikely that the Washington Wizards can overtake the Jazz. Really important, really big. And tonight was also important. I don't know if we have a ton of things to talk about tonight other than that Utah Jazz tried some interesting tricks tonight to lose the game. We all obviously know that the NBA fined Utah for resting Lauri Markkanen. Well, they obviously played Lauri Markkanen tonight with a different group of players. Some of that might be designed to just try different guys, and some of that is just to throw the chemistry of the team off a little bit. There's a lot of little tricks the Jazz are using to lose these games. Sorry, guys, sometimes that audio just cuts out. I'm going to have to get our hard drive. Maybe for next year, I'll look at doing that. But anyways, they try a different lineup. This was Micah Potter with Markkanen, Kessler, Williams, and Isaiah Collier. Keyonte George came back, though, in this one and actually played really nicely for the most part, at least offensively. For the Bulls, there's not a lot else. I mean, there's a lot of Jazz fans that really wanted Modest Bucelis, I guess, and he looked really nice tonight for Chicago, did some nice things. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 42% from the three-point line. So nice night for Bucelis. If you're a Bucelis fan, then you've got to be excited, I guess. For the season, though, he's shooting like 42, 43%, which is actually pretty solid. Can't argue with that for a rookie, and then shooting 32% from 3. So he'll be one to watch and see if he can continue to develop. He obviously has the nice size. He stands at 6'10". So, and he's pretty athletic, and if he's shooting the ball well, I mean, 32% from 3 is not something you're going to really write home about, but that's a good baseline, and if he can improve every season for the Chicago Bulls team, then they've got something nice. Kobe White's obviously turned into a nice story for them. 26 points. The biggest thing, though, was Nikola Vucevic got crushed by Lauri Markkanen tonight. He had 10 points and 10 rebounds, but it was 3 for 15 from the field. Some of that was him just missing shots, and some of that was that Walker Kessler was awesome again tonight. Like I said, Lauri Markkanen plays. He goes 1 for 8 from 3, 16 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. I don't know if that was the ankle that was hurting him. We're going to see if Markkanen even plays in the next game against Washington coming up. We shall see. Not sure. Utah wants to avoid a fine. I don't know if they're going to get away with not playing him. Now, we know that they played him a first half and not a second half against, I can't remember who it was, but it was against a bad team. And we'll see if they do it. Utah really does need to lose this game, though, because they are also going to play Charlotte. There's just no way that they can beat Washington and beat Charlotte and hold on to this spot that they're in. If you're Utah, you want to 100% want to keep this number 1 spot. And anyone out there who doesn't understand, it doesn't change your percentage chance to get the number 1 pick. If anyone out there thinks that I don't understand that, or I'm out there preaching the Jazz have a better shot to get the 14% at the 1 than in 3, then that makes you an idiot. All right. Through 3, and it's still the same percentage shot at the number 1. It's still a 52% shot at a top 4, right? But here's the thing. If you're at the number 1, you cannot fall lower than 5 because they only pick in the lottery for the top 4 teams. So if you're at number 1, that means, yes, you have the same chance as Washington and Charlotte at the number 1 pick, but you have a 100% chance of being top 5. If you get jumped by 4 teams, the lowest you can go is 5. So Washington, if they're at the 2, their floor is 6. Charlotte, floor is 7. If anyone, that's how it works. I don't know if that's clear. We've talked about it all season long. That has been the goal. So I'm sure people who regularly watch the show are like, yeah, we get it. We get it. Micah Potter, I don't got anything else to say for Micah Potter. Walker Kessler, 3 for 11, but that's because Utah has him taking threes. He goes 0 for 5. It's crazy. They look pretty good. They're just not falling, but I'm happy that they have him shooting threes. Why not? Why not? Utah wants to lose. It would be nice if Walker Kessler could learn to spread the floor. If you take away his 5 missed threes, obviously it's a 3 for, what is that? 3 for 6, so 50%. So obviously, if you look at what his numbers are minus the threes, it's really nice. So I'm really happy with them having Walker Kessler shoot threes, because if Kessler can become a 3-point threat, that turns him into an absolutely amazing asset for the Utah Jazz. You never know. So keep bombing them, Walker Kessler. Keep bombing them. There's like 13 games left. Who cares? It does not matter. Utah wants to lose these games. So there is no better opportunity than now for him to start taking threes. It's great. 12 rebounds for Kessler, 7 points, 3 blocked shots. The Jazz are super happy with what Lauri Markkanen's doing. If you're watching these games, he's basically been, and I think it's not a crazy thing to say, Utah's best player this year. Walker Kessler has been dominant, has been really, really great. So it's nice to see them giving Walker a chance to like spread the floor. And there have been times where I've heard that from places I do trust that these are things that Walker Kessler would like to do. So Kessler has to be happy that he's getting this opportunity. Why not? So it's a win-win for Utah. If he doesn't make them, it's fine. You lose the game. If he does, you develop the 3-point shot, and he becomes an even bigger asset for you in the future and a core part of what you're doing. If Utah can get Kessler shooting threes and making them, that's a big-time thing. Now, it's 2 games. He's taken 11 of them. He's made 1. We'll see. But I would say let's let him keep shooting it, because he can make them in practice. He can make them. Can he get comfortable taking them in the game? If he can do that, that becomes a huge thing. Now, he's not a great free throw shooter, so there's not like a lot of reason to think I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it, but you never know. You never know. The stroke looks pretty good. I'm always surprised that his free throw percentage isn't better, to be honest. Cody Williams got a lot of chances to dribble the ball this game. The Jazz at the end of this one were doing 2 things to really lose this game in some ways. Walker Kessler taking threes, and they're having Cody Williams run the offense. It's a chance for him to grow, and it's also good for him. His handle's not the greatest thing, so if it doesn't work out, then they lose. But it also gives him a chance to do some things that will help him in the long run be a much more effective player. He had a few shots he made. Goes 2 for 8 tonight, so the shooting wasn't good for Cody tonight. But I like that the Jazz are doing that. It's a twofold thing. It will help them lose the game against Washington. You can bet on 2 things that are going to happen in this game against Washington, like happened tonight. Walker Kessler's going to shoot more threes. I love it. I want green light for Walker Kessler. Shoot him. Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. Watch against Washington, Kessler go 3 for 6 or something like that. It's going to happen. And then Cody Williams initiating offense, running the show, going and running a pick and roll against the Wizards. I don't know who's going to rest for the Wizards. I doubt they're going to rest a lot. We'll see. Utah's going to rest some guys. I think that lineup for Utah is going to be desolate. We may not even see Kessler play, to be honest. I doubt in fact, that's my guess, is Utah can't really rest Markkanen, so maybe they play Markkanen, but it's going to be barren. It's going to be like Collier, Micah Potter, Cody Williams, and you're going to have like Oscar Tshiebwe minutes, man. It might be the return of Tshiebwe. But then Markkanen's going to play. Can't find the Jazz if they're playing Lauri Markkanen, right? It's the rules. The Jazz are following the rules now, but instead of like giving the ball to Lauri Markkanen, they're having Walker Kessler shoot threes. So that's the cheat code the Jazz have found. They're running offense through Cody Williams. He's initiating and learning. His handle needs to improve. And so what better way to improve your handle than practice in a live game? This is practice for Utah right now. It's great. It's development time. Absolutely. Isaiah Collier struggled to shoot it again, although he just continues to put up good assist numbers. It's really impressive that he's able to do this. 8 assists, goes 3 for 10 from the field. He's just doing some things I really like. I'm excited to see the future of Isaiah Collier and what he can kind of become. He plays so physical. He made Bacelis mad at one point because there were a couple plays where Collier just absolutely bulldozed Bacelis back, and Bacelis is 6'10". Collier's like 6'2" or 3 or 4. I can't remember. What is Collier? 6'3"? 6'3". Yeah, he's not huge, but man, does he play big and strong, and he just knocks a lot of guys off their heels, and it was great. Johnny Juzang. We've talked about Juzang. I don't know if he helps you to win at all on the defensive end. He can shoot it, though, and tonight we saw that 2 for 4 from 3, 3 for 6 from the field. He can knock down threes. I don't know if he can really do anything else at a high level, but he can shoot the ball pretty well. In fact, just to give Johnny Juzang 3 seconds of glory here, shooting from three-point line tonight, in the season actually, he's shooting, 36% from 3. Last year he shot 41. So one thing we have found out is that he can definitely shoot the ball. Now, I don't know if he's a defender at all. Honestly, I don't know. But he can definitely shoot it. So that's something. Keyonte George comes back, missed 4 games. And, he just does some nice things. And I think he is a guard of the future coming off the bench for Utah. And there's nothing wrong with that. 4 for 7 from the field is nice. 1 for 3 from 3 is perfect. 7 for 7 from the free throw line. He just has this gift of being able to get his own shot. It's just not something everyone can do. And on top of him being good enough to make those shots, he's also getting better and better at driving to the basket. I think that, and I talked with Dre on the live show. By the way, new writer for SLC Dunk, Dre Matasha. You may follow him on Twitter. Does a great job. We talked during the live stream on playback. By the way, guys, go to the playback. You can watch the game with me. It's a lot of fun. We watch it live on playback together, and we have fun. We talk about it. It's great. But anyways, Dre was talking about it, and then he knows a few people across the lines with the Jazz, but one thing he talked about, one thing Keyonte George is trying to do is trying to get his field goal percentage above 40%. So tonight he goes 4 for 7. That's a great goal for Keyonte to have because I think he needs to have that mindset. I need to be shooting at a certain percentage. And if he can get above 40% from the season, what is he at right now? 39.5. That is a great goal for him to have. He's at 0.4 above last season. If he can get to 40%, that's a huge, successful, attained goal. And I like that thought that he's trying to get his field goal percentage up. That's a great thing to have. That's a better goal to me than just like trying to win Rookie of the Year or trying to score 20-something points per game. Anyone can go out and chuck shots. Jordan Clarkson does that. Svi Mikhailuk, when he's on the floor, will just absolutely gun it. But it takes a great player that can know when to take shots and when not to. And so Keyonte George, who's trying to improve his field goal percentage, only took 7 shots tonight. That's free throws. So that's like 3 or 4 trips to the line. That's awesome. He should get commended for that. He's not taking bad shots. That's great. That mindset is going to turn him into an ultra efficient player. And, tonight he has just 2 assists, but he's averaging 6 assists for the season. In fact, let me just verify that. But he's doing 6 assists per game. We already had it up. Look, assists per game, 5.8. So he's just under 6 assists. And if he can get that field goal percentage to next year, if he can be at like 43, 40, 42, whatever, and then the following year get to like 45, all of a sudden, if you're putting up 6 assists and shooting like 45 from the field, 38% from 3, That is a high-level offensive player. So this is nice to see. It's something to watch. Yes, the Jazz are losing, but there are nice things happening. And to me, trying to improve that field goal percentage is a great sign of maturation for Keyonte George and wanting the right things. I think Keyonte George will earn another nice contract with the Jazz. Why, if he's doing stuff like this, like 4 for 7 from the field, 7 for 7 from the free throw line, 2 assists, 2 steals. In fact, he made some defensive plays tonight that were pretty nice. Then you've got yourself a nice sixth man that can absolutely play with a championship contender in the future. If he can get that defense to a nice level, why not? Why not? That is a very versatile, nice player that does a lot for you off the bench. Jordan Clarkson, 50% from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, had 14 points. Nice night from Jordan Clarkson. I mean, there's not really a lot of analysis with Jordan Clarkson. You know what he is. It is what it is. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, and this show might not be as long tonight, guys. It is what it is. Kyle Filipowski, 23 minutes tonight. What a nice player for Utah. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist tonight. He does tonight, surprisingly, it's honestly a surprise when his three-point shot isn't falling. He goes 0 for 4 from 3, but he's upper 30s. That's what's so impressive about what Filipowski's doing is he is hitting his three at a nice level. And one thing that's also really nice is he's scoring inside also. He hit like he was going left in the fourth quarter, turning fadeaway Kobe Bryant jump shot off the glass. So it's a combo of Kobe and Tim Duncan and it's just impressive some of the shooting that he does. When you consider that he goes 0 for 4 from 3, that means he went 4 for 5 from 2-point shots tonight. He is just an efficient scorer. So when you consider the 2-point shot is at a high level, he's shooting 39% from 3. Really nice. And then you add in the rebounding and the assists. He's just a nice player for this Jazz team. At worst, he's a nice big off the bench, and maybe he can develop into something more. Never say never. If he's shooting it just at an insane clip, why not? And if he can just defend, I think he's going to have to play the 4 to be a higher level defender. I think that's something that he just probably has to do. Obviously, never say never. I think that he has a lot of advantages being at the center. So in some situations, maybe you have him play stretch 5 if you're behind and you need to just, bomb threes and open the floor for guys like Keyonte and stuff like that. And if Filipowski is at the above the break 3, knocking down threes, and it's opening the floor for everyone else, that's exciting stuff. And then you consider the fact that he's a really good passer. He's going to be kind of like a Kelly Olynyk type player where he can pass the ball. If he's at the top of the three-point line, he can knock down the 3. But if you guard him and someone cuts to the basket and he gets him the ball, pretty amazing stuff. It's going to be really fun to watch. By the way, and shout out to Dre. Dre, guys, join us on the playback. It's great. But we were talking about it. Dre mentioned that Danny Ainge probably, we've heard all the rumors about Cooper Flagg staying at Duke. He's not going to stay at Duke, guys. He's going to come into the NBA. He didn't leave college. He didn't leave high school early to go to college early to just stay at college. He's going to the NBA. He's trying to get to the NBA as soon as he can. Because he left early, he avoids next year's draft where he would have been drafted later, possibly, than Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, and Cam Boozer. This was all a plan. So don't worry about him staying at Duke. That's not happening. He's going to the NBA. Don't worry, okay? He's not staying. But one thing that Utah has as kind of an advantage over other players is Cooper Flagg's from Maine. He grew up a Boston Celtics fan. Wouldn't it be cool to play for Danny Ainge, who played with Larry Bird and built those winning Boston Celtics teams? I mean, Cooper Flagg saw those teams with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce win those championships, and Danny Ainge can talk to Cooper Flagg and obviously let him know, like, you are the future of this team too. You are the future. And how cool would it be if you're like a Utah Jazz fan and someone like John Stockton drafts you and mentors you? Even if it's not at Utah, you're going to enjoy that, right? Danny Ainge, a big part of Boston Celtics history, and so that's going to be a fun little connection. Like, if he can't play for the Boston Celtics, what's the next best thing? Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge. And by the way, Will Hardy, who coached in Boston, Joe Mazzulla's brother, is it Jason Mazzulla? Coaches for the Utah Jazz as an assistant coach. There's a ton of Boston connections there. Svi Mikhaila comes. Utah has so many connections to those Boston Celtics. It gives them an advantage with Cooper Flagg that, you know, he would be happier to be with Utah than he would be with Charlotte or Washington. It's going to be a bummer if he goes to like the Wizards or the Hornets, because they're just not going to develop him like the Utah Jazz will. And Utah is going to make him the centerpiece. He's going to be the core piece of everything Utah does. And then Utah's going to probably trade Lauri Markkanen this offseason and go after Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, or Cam Boozer. And then they've got a dynasty on their hands. Just like they built with the Boston Celtics, they're going to build it in Utah. If you have two superstars filled with elite role players, and then you have trade assets to make trades for another star if you need to, or to just continue to draft and fill your coffers with good players. I mean, Utah's going to be so set up for such a long time with this. They just have to win. And even if it's top 2 or 3, you get a chance at Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe. Going to be fun to watch. Obviously, we want the number 1. Every single one of us needs to be doing our voodoo magic or something to win that number 1 pick. But even if they don't, if Utah can just get top 4, then you got to be excited about what Utah's going to draft. And then they're going to do it again next year, and they're going to absolutely go for these superstars. They want one. They need one. Utah needs an MVP caliber player. They don't need they don't need a Donovan Mitchell. They don't need a Rudy Gobert. We need an MVP. That's what Utah wants. And Cooper Flagg has that potential. And Darren Peterson, Cooper Flagg, and AJ DeBonsa and Cam Boozer have that potential as well. So Utah is absolutely going for it, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited, guys. I am so excited for the lottery. If we win that lottery, it's going to be just one of the best days in Utah sports history. It's going to be freaking amazing. And I'm just fingers crossed that happens. All right, guys, I think that's all we got tonight. Make sure you do go to the SLC Dunk playback. Go to playback, search SLC Dunk, and you can watch with me. We do it every single game. It's a lot of fun, and we watch together. I like watching with you guys. We've made friends. Guys like KG goes there and watches. Shark and Dre and S69 from Finland, all these guys that are there, it's a lot of fun. We get to know each other pretty well. All right. Utah has that number 1 spot locked in right now. If the oh, by the way, good news for Utah, Minnesota lost. So that puts them below Golden State. Look at that. Can the Clippers, who've won 3 in a row, overtake Minnesota as well? That would be great. If Utah can get a pick in this range, how cool would that be? All right, if the lottery was today, what would happen? Let's see. Utah drops again. Horrible. No. We're using up all our bad juju now, guys. Doggone it. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout out to Robert, Hall of Fame, Christian House Money to Hans, DeHaas, Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am, Cam Chin 3, Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. I believe in Steve Jazz Exile, Baby Elliot Matson, see ya, Lexalator, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Austin R. Grant Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5 the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, if you're new here, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the channel, hit join. It would be great. I will talk to you next time, guys.